Right, let's talk about something absolutely bonkers. Imagine this, thousands and thousands of people, all piling their money into a new digital coin. Why? Because it's linked to the one and only Kanye West. It's called YZY. It promised to be the next big thing. A revolution. But here's the kicker. A tiny group of people, like you could fit them all in a minibus, became millionaires overnight. Almost everyone else got completely wiped out. 52,000 investors watched their money just poof, gone. It's like a magic show where your wallet disappears and never comes back. So what on earth is this YZY coin? It popped up riding a massive wave of hype. Anything Kanye touches turns to gold, right? It was classic FOMO. Global, massive. But the get-rich dream turned into a nightmare for nearly everyone. 74% of them lost money. In total, roughly $75 million vanished. Think about that. Not pocket change, but savings and hopes. Gone. Now, when you look a bit closer, you start to see all the warning signs, the massive red flags waving in the wind. One of the biggest problems was how the coins were distributed. A staggering 70% of all the YZY coins were given directly to the project team. It's like baking a giant pizza for a party, but before any of the guests arrive, you take 7 out of 10 slices for yourself. It creates a huge imbalance of power. This setup, known as centralization, meant a small inside group had almost total control over the coin's supply, which is a recipe for disaster in the crypto world. When a tiny group holds most of the coins, they can control the price. They can decide to sell all at once, causing the value to plummet for everyone else. On top of these structural issues, the coin's launch was immediately followed by a spectacular crash. The price of YZY dropped by a jaw-dropping 70% in a very short amount of time. Sniping is when traders with special tools buy up a coin the very second it becomes available. It's like showing up for a 100-meter race, but some of the runners get to start at the 90-meter mark. So who were these lucky few? These 11 people who became millionaires, while everyone else was losing their life savings? Well, they weren't lucky at all. They were smart, fast, maybe a little bit ruthless. One of the biggest winners was a trader known only by their online handle, Naseem. Turned a small investment into a $3.2 million profit, made it in hours or days. Another expert trader was Hayden Davis. Like pro poker players at a table full of amateurs, they use advanced tools to execute trades with precision. They exploited the YZY hype, predators in a sea of hopeful fish. The secret, speed, and early access. They were there at the first second the coin launched. Automated bots buying huge amounts before price moved. They got in at rock-bottom prices, then rode the surge when regular investors rushed in, pushing the price sky high. Then they sold everything, cashed out millions. But their wins were funded by the losses of 52,000 investors. It's a zero-sum game. In memecoins, being early isn't just an advantage, it's everything. If you're not at the front of the line, you're probably funding someone else's exit. When the dust settled on the whole YZY saga, it left behind a very important and frankly quite troubling question. What is the real point of these meme coins? Are they actually creating any value? Or are they just a new, high-tech way for a few insiders to get rich at the expense of everyone else? The YZY coin was promoted with big ideas of revolutionizing payments with YE-Pay and a new debit card. But as of today, there's still no launch date for any of it. The entire episode feels less like a genuine financial innovation and more like a trip to a casino where the odds are heavily stacked against you. You walk in, full of hope, thinking you might hit the jackpot, but what you don't see is that the game is rigged from the start. The people who made millions from YZY were like card sharps who knew which cards were coming next. They weren't gambling, they were executing a carefully planned strategy to take money from the hopeful and the uninformed. This really makes you wonder if meme coins can ever be a legitimate path to wealth for the average person. The stories we hear are always about the exceptions, the person who turned a few $100s into $1 million. But we rarely hear about the thousands of others who lost everything on that same coin. The YZY story lays it all bare. For every one person who gets rich, there are thousands left with nothing. It was a roller coaster ride for sure, but one where only a select few had a safety harness. For everyone else, it was a long, painful fall to the bottom, leaving them to wonder if the whole game was ever worth playing in the first place.